evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for pro wrestling insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. This Sunday, the Forbidden Door will be ripped off its hinges as AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling once again team up for Forbidden Door 2. On today's show, we are going to be giving our predictions for the show, as we would do it on Saturday usually. However, now we have AEW Collision to talk about on Saturdays, and of course, Friday Night SmackDown as well. But let's kick things off, and we've already got a comment here from Melissa. Shout out to Melissa. But let me introduce the panel of people here today talking about and giving their predictions for Forbidden Door. Firstly, Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
I'm doing well. I'm fired up for Forbidden Door. I'm fired up. We've got back-to-back pay-per-view weekends. One of my favorite things in wrestling, because the worst case scenario is when you get an awesome pay-per-view show or premium live event show on a Saturday or a Sunday, and then you get to the weekend after and there's just, what do I do this weekend? Nope. We've got back-to-back and it's going to be awesome. I'm stoked to get into it. And then Collision as well on Saturday. I love it. We're doing the predictions early. Why not?
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
There's so much to talk about. It's just awesome.
And also joining us today, the head of reviewing here at Wrestling Republic, Coby Galenzoski.
Pretty good. Of course, we're approaching the weekend. Like you said, it's Forbidden Door weekend, and we got a lot of wrestling going on. It is the every wrestling fan's worst nightmare, because there's an additional 2-hour show to watch. Yes, there's Collision, and as of this week, there's been wrestling on every single day, and it's going to continue like that for a long time now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the addition of Collision, certainly a lot more wrestling, but it's also a lot more fun. Also joining us, we have Dryzzy. How are you, Dryzzy?
I am good. It never stopped. It never stopped. We have been going nonstop for about a month now almost. There's been some type of wrestling on every single day. But this is the one that is a wrestling fan's dream. Except we're doing it the second time around now. I can't wait. Let's go.
Absolutely. I'm hyped for this weekend in wrestling, and let's kick things off by talking about the man who everybody is talking about all of the time, the man who calls himself the one true article in professional wrestling, and that is CM Punk. And he will be taking on Satoshi Kojima in an Owen Hart Cup tournament first round match at Forbidden Door. And quite honestly, this is easily the most predictable match on the card. And I'm saying that despite the fact that different promotions' titles are going to be on the line. So those ones are pretty damn obvious too. But it's clear to me that CM Punk's going to win this one. But what do you think, Clark?
Oh, you know how excited I am. I mean, did you guys hear about CM Punk? He's back. And if I remember right, I totally called that like 9 months ago, but not the point. Not the point. Like you said, super predictable. I'd like to see, I don't see Kojima submitting, but it would be kind of cool to see an Anaconda Vice over GTS in this one. And that's about all I care about here is just, give him the business, Punk, and get him out of there. And yes, he's a legend and it's cool. This could have been maybe on Forbidden Door, but it's cool in the Owen Hart Cup too. And there we go. Ball game. Either GTS or Anaconda Vice. Punk goes over and the train keeps rolling.
Nice. Great prediction there. But what about you, Dryzzy? Who are you predicting in this one?
It's Punk. I love Kojima, but it's Punk.
What about you, Coby?
I mean, it's hard to say it's not going to be Punk. We know Satoshi ain't going to win. It's the Owen Hart Cup, and Punk's going to be the victor in this case.
Yeah, no, I do have to agree with all you there. So all four of us are predicting CM Punk. But now let's move on to the next one. And that match is... Sorry, guys, I'm putting my notes here. That match is Orange Cassidy defending the AEW International Championship against Zack Sabre Jr., my favorite wrestler, Shibata, and, of course, Daniel Garcia of the Jericho Appreciation Society in a fatal 4-way match. Now, this match isn't quite as predictable because, of course, Orange Cassidy has now been international champion for quite a while, and he's been having a really, really good reign, but it's starting to catch up on him. His body's starting to get hurt. You can see it, how he's carrying himself on Dynamite. And as this is a fatal 4-way, perhaps this is a good opportunity to get the title off him. However, I am still going to predict Orange Cassidy in this one because I feel like if it would be any of them to win this, it would be the AEW talent Daniel Garcia. And I can't really see him being the one to take the AEW international title off Orange Cassidy. So Cassidy is my pick. But what about you, Coby?
So, so this is the one thing that we see with AEW, and they do a lot of these tradition. We see shows like All Out always happening in Chicago. We see Double or Nothing being in Las Vegas year after year after year. Forbidden Door is obviously now becoming a tradition, not in the same city, but last year's Forbidden Door was where the inaugural. At the time, it was the AEW All Atlantic champion. Now it's the AEW International Championship, but it's still going to be contested in the same type of match, and I actually really like that. So it is like last year was the All Atlantic 4-way. This year it's the International 4-way. I agree that there's a lot of talent in this match, and it should be a very fun match. I really like the story that Orange Cassidy that they are telling with Orange Cassidy, that he's been their workhorse for the last since he beat Pac in I think September or early October last year. He's been that workhorse, and at the time, I think he is going to retain. But at the end of the day, it's still a good storytelling. But to see what heel is the one that actually is the one to kind of break him past that point is going to be interesting to see, and it's just been fun all around.
Yeah, no, I do agree. It's been a very fun title reign, and I'm somebody who has criticized Orange Cassidy at times, but he's really impressed me with this championship reign. But Clark, I'll head to you first. Who are you choosing out of these 4 men?
I mean, Cassidy's been impressive. I love Daniel Garcia. I'd love to see Cassidy retain, but I just don't see that being the case.
I go for.
You know what? No, I'm taking Cassidy. He's gonna retain. Keep it on him.
Fair enough.
I had to really think there.
Ever, but fair enough. Dryzzy, what about you?
I'm going with Zack Sabre Jr.
Ooh.
Zack is being built up over there for their I want to call it their Western expansion. This is maybe the 5th try now. I can't see a better way to expand by having another international guy hold your belt. And I think that Orange Cassidy and Zack Sabre Jr., just their chemistry alone is going to be beautiful. As long as we get like a solid 5 minutes of them just doing stuff, just those two. Now you add Shibata, yes, cool, but just have Sabre and Cassidy. Just give me like 5 minutes of shenanigans. That's all I want.
Oh, that would be super, super fun. I'm double champion, ZSJ. I'd certainly like to see that. He's another one of my favorite wrestlers. Truthfully, this match might just be the one on the card I'm most excited for because it is just so stacked. As 4 guys who I'm a big fan of, well, I say Orange Cassidy, but he's impressed me a lot lately, so I'll throw him in there as well. But now let's move on to a match which I kind of feel like just been thrown together, and I'm not really a fan of it. It's a champion versus champion match for one championship, and I don't like that either. If there's going to be a championship match, I think both should be on the line, and I know that's something which a lot of MMA fans will probably disagree with me on, but in professional wrestling, I really like it to just be both championships on the line if it is champion versus champion, as it just makes sense, right? There's no different weight divisions or anything in wrestling. If you're a champion facing another champion, it should be for both belts. That's just my belief. But anyway, Toni Storm will be defending the AEW Women's Championship against New Japan Strong Women's Champion Willow Nightingale. And AEW have kind of bucked themselves into a little bit of a corner here because presumably Toni Storm's winning. But then the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, and that's a brand new belt, by the way, as well. She feels suddenly quite weak. The fact, it feels less than the AEW Women's Championship. I think the way they're going to go about it here is the Outcasts are going to, screw Willow Nightingale out of it, and it's not going to be clean at all. I presume that's where it's going. But even still, I'm just not a huge fan of this match taking place. But my prediction will be firmly Toni Storm. What about you, Dryzzy?
This match is being booked wrong. The women's part of it is being booked wrong. If we were gonna do this, I really feel like the TBS title should be the match instead of the AEW women's title. And also, as I look at this match, because of the things that have happened over the last couple of months, it leads me to think that this was originally supposed to be Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné.
Yeah,
But
possibly.
we all know she is hurt, so champion is in. Willow and Toni are not going to put on a bad match. They are both very good wrestlers. No problems with either of them in the ring. I am a huge fan of Willow Nightingale. She just makes my heart flutter. I want to say Willow's going to win this, but storyline wise, the Outcasts always outsmart everybody else. So
yeah,
we're going to go with Toni, and I need, if we're gonna keep doing this at Forbidden Door, I need them to put a little bit more effort into the women's side of it, because it really this match does feel thrown together. Yes, it does have a story, but this is a match that would have happened on Dynamite or Collision.
True. Even Rampage, I guess, in a way. It does sound like a match which could even be on Rampage. But you are right. It will be a very, very fun match indeed. And we got Melissa in the comments saying, why isn't Stardom involved? And the reason why Stardom isn't involved in Forbidden Door this year is because they have a pay-per-view on the same day. They have a show on the same day, and that's why, obviously, they can't work both shows. However, next year, I'm really hoping that, they just all organize it a bit better because, Stardom is owned by Bushiroad too, who own New Japan, so why aren't they involved? They should be involved, in my opinion. Maybe you do a women's Forbidden Door in a couple of months or something like that. Who knows? But Clark, what's your prediction for this match between Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale?
This match reeks of shenanigans. It's just obvious to me there. And I love Willow as much as anyone. Honestly, I thought she kind of stole the show with the Bubba Dudley spot, the powerbomb, at the Rampage I attended at the LA Forum. It was awesome. That spot in person was amazing. I know there was some criticism on TV, but I dug it. The pop for it was huge. It was awesome. But at the end of the day, Toni Storm's gonna get the win via those shenanigans previously mentioned.
What about you, Coby?
I agree with the statement. We're 2 days away, and I can already smell the shenanigans. I guess I'm the closest to Toronto out of the four of us, but still, it already reeks. Toni Storm's going to win somehow. Do we see it returning Saraya? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting as to what shenanigans take place. I do hope Ruby's okay after that wicked pounce from last Collision, though. That was rough to see. I'll admit that.
Absolutely. It certainly was. But let's hope that it is a good match, even if the story's a bit all over the place. And unfortunately, likely there will be a lot of outside involvement. But we got Willie Fitness in the comments here, and he is saying, shout out to Dryzzy.
Willie Finesse.
Finesse.
Oh, Finesse.
You're good.
Apparently.
No, you're good. You're good.
And he is also commenting, is there a women's match for Forbidden Door? And Toni Storm versus Willow Nightingale is, I believe, the only one on the main card currently announced. And there's one on the
pre-show
then between Billy Starks and Britt Baker, I believe.
Shout out Billy Starks. She's from
Athena.
Yep.
Oh, Athena. Sorry, Athena. And that'll be in the Owen Hart's women's tournament. And that is a first round match in that. But now let's move on to the next match, which is the first match that we've really spoken about today, which is quite unpredictable. And this is the Blackpool Combat Club plus Shota Umino and Takeshita will be teaming up to take on Hangman Page, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Tomohiro Ishii, and Eddie Kingston. So it's basically the BCC versus the Elite again. Obviously, Danielson and Omega both can't be involved for their respective sides, so they decided to bring in external people, Forbidden Door people, and then make this match a little bit more spicy, a little bit more interesting. And yes, with 5-on-5 match, I'm going to be honest, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm not usually a fan of 4-on-4 matches or 5-on-5 matches unless there's some like big stipulation. And this doesn't seem to have one. It's just a 5-on-5 match, so I don't know how this is going to go. There's a lot of names in it I really love. Hopefully it will be fun. I could see it going either way. However, I'm going to give it to the Blackpool Combat Club. Perhaps an Eddie Kingston, heel turn. Maybe he'll join the Blackpool Combat Club himself to then have the 5-on-5 for Blood and Guts match. Because, of course, Blackpool Combat Club, unless you're bringing in Shuta Umino, are one short currently for a 5-on-5 Blood and Guts match. And I just saw Clark's reaction at the bottom of my screen. And it appears like he was going to give the same answer I was.
Yeah, I didn't even jump your intro this time. I should have jumped the intro. Yes, Eddie King, the only logical move is to give this match a reason with 5-on-5. And we talk about Don Callis and Takeshita becoming officially a part of the BCC and Don Callis being a mouthpiece for the BCC, even though, yes, Moxley and Bryan and even Claudio can all talk. Add Eddie Kingston to that mix. He makes the big turn tonight. Maybe even on Ishii. He talks about how much he respected him. I've seen them wrestle live. It was stiff. It was awesome. It was respectful. They hugged after the match on the way up the ramp. Maybe that's who he turns on, is the Stone Pitbull. Hit him with that Huracan, that spinning back fist, and put him to sleep, and then maybe put somebody on top of him. And the Bucks are distraught about it because, the Bucks don't have any true connection to Kingston other than they don't.
They don't even like each
other. They're
not
buddies. East Coast, West Coast, right? Like it makes no sense. And the only logical move to me is Eddie turning. I don't know how he does it, but week in and week out, Eddie on the mic for the BCC with Wheeler. I would love to see a Wheeler and Eddie tag run, maybe, or something like that. Could be cool. With almost like he's the second mic option after Callis.
Yeah,
right? Everybody can stick up for themselves, but if that makes sense, and he fits well into the fold, and if we're going to really stick with the big bad heels, Eddie Kingston, with the way he can run his mouth, fits that mold perfectly. Because that's kind of the one thing we don't truly have unless you call Callis the mouthpiece for the Combat Club.
And they're not even officially in it. Apparently, he's not even in the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah,
But, Dryzzy, I'll head to you first. Who do you think is going to win between these two teams?
I'm giving it to the Elite due to BCC winning the first match.
Fair enough.
They're going to make this story go out a little bit longer. And even in fact, Shoto, I can't say his last name.
Just shoot them, basically.
I call him Moxley's young boy. That's Moxley's illegitimate son. He's going to be taking the pin. I'm telling you that now. That's why he's here.
Amino?
Yes. That is Moxley's son. He has to take the pin.
That is Moxley's son. You should just have a T-shirt saying Moxley's son on it. That would be quite funny. They're starting to try and give him a push in New Japan, but honestly, out of anybody on their team, I probably would agree. Either him or Wheeler Yuta. But what about you, Coby? Who do you predict?
Come on, Wheeler Yuta just pinned Kenny Omega at Anarchy Arena. He can't take the... I'm kidding.
He took the pin the other day.
Yeah, exactly. He took the pin the other day. I completely disagree because I could not see Eddie Kingston siding with Claudio when that's the reason he's in this feud. So I don't know where that goes. And the other option, which I'm not going to mention too much, is of course the G1, which Eddie Kingston is in. So I don't know how that plays in, if he's taking a hiatus, if he's kind of not staying around on TV much longer. But I do 100% believe the Elite is going to win. The Elite, Eddie and Ishii are going to win, I think.
Maybe if, I don't know, I've forgotten the blocks now, but if Eddie and Ishii are in the same block, perhaps if you did do that turn, That would be the perfect place to, have that match happen. Sorry. That would be very fun indeed. But we got a comment here from Bailey who is saying, I wish they would have just done Ishii versus Claudio, if I'm being honest. I mean, decent take. The thing about it is they need some tag matches to get everybody on the card. Last year, I felt like
same block.
Same block. Okay, Clark, you sold me on it then. I think he's sitting on Ishii. But you do need some tag matches to just get everybody on the card with stuff like this. Last year, they did too many tag matches. This year, I think it's a nice balance. But now let's move on.
There's no tag title match at all. That makes no
sense.
I'm
just on about multi-man tag matches.
Exactly, that too.
But let's now talk a trios match as Sting, Darby Allin, and a mystery partner will be teaming up to take on Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki. Of course, Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki teamed up on Dynamite this week. I'm actually a fan of this match happening. I'm excited for it. But the big question is, who is this mystery partner? This mysterious person, right? And, Sting said that Jericho's made some enemies over the past few years. And because this is Forbidden Door, I have a feeling it's going to be Naito, right? Naito's not booked on the card currently. And, of course, him and Jericho had that long feud a couple of years back. Would make a lot of sense. Darby Allin's teamed with a couple of people from LIJ in the past as well. So I would not be against that at all. A bit more of a wilder shout, and this is one which Numero 1 Superfly sent in the chat earlier, is saying his prediction is that the mystery partner will be Goldberg. Ooh, that would certainly be an interesting one. But Coby, what's your prediction for this bout?
I think you said some of the names that are definitely eligible in this case. Like you said, Naito's not on the card, but he has a pass with Jericho. Goldberg would be interesting. I mean, that's all that needs to be said. It'd be funny to see the AEW shows on Twitter try to defend, oh, we like Goldberg now. The only other option that comes to mind is last year they were in the same match. Shingo Takagi was on Team Sting. I really like Shingo Takagi if I do have to say so myself. But at the end of the day, this match is the purpose of this match is to advance the storyline between Jericho and Sammy Guevara. We know that's the match that's being advanced. I think the Jericho, Sammy, and Suzuki trios match last year stole the show. Because that's the one match I really enjoyed that kicked off the show last year. I think it's going to be a really fun match at Forbidden Door as well. I'm curious to see who Sting's with, but of course that's a collision. That's a collision announcement that we're going to see tomorrow on Saturday. So It's interesting.
I mean, the fact they're announcing it a day early as well makes me think it's Naito, not Goldberg, because I think they'd exactly if it was Goldberg. But Clark, who are you picking as the winner for this bout?
The winner of the bout, I was about to say I was going to give my pick for the surprise, but first, so
go for it.
Goldberg would be super cool, but I agree on the Naito pick. I think the winner of this one actually has to be the Jericho side to set up for Sting Jericho, and it might be shenanigans as well. This may end up being not the same, but I feel like this is where either Darby or Naito have to take the pin. That's where I'm confused. But if Sting, Darby, and whether it's Naito or Goldberg go over, do we really now need to see Sting Jericho one-on-one? That's going to be a lot of work from Jericho to close that gap. Because the way I viewed all Sting was talking to him like he was a little kid, right? Very often we see Jericho when he gets on the mic, he sounds like he's talking down to people. That's why he's so great as a heel, right? Yeah. Sting as a babyface just did that to Jericho last week. He made him sound silly. He whispered in his ear when he said the surprise thing. He tooled him. And in my eyes, that's a lot of ground to make up if now Sting and Darby go over in this match. I think Jericho and them have to get the win. And it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm still Sting. And that's how we build towards All In.
I would very much like that. I think that might be what they do. I still do think it'll be Sting because of the mystery partner and all that element to it. But what about you, Dryzzy? Which team are you picking?
I'm going with Sting and Darby.
Nice.
And for my pick, I really, really, really want Naito in an AEW ring. I was begging for it last year. I'm begging for it this year. Just Naito, please. He's great. I also wanted him to have some type of connection with I messed it up every time I say it. The Loso Ingonables faction that's in
Yeah, you
AEW.
said that perfectly,
Yeah,
actually.
you got it.
Yeah, see, I did it. I've been practicing. But I really want that interaction because we haven't seen any type of interaction between any of them in years.
Yeah, it's true. It would be very, very fun indeed. But talking about LIJ, let's talk about a former member of LIJ, and that is Sanada, who of course now is part of the Just Five Guys faction in New Japan, and he of course is now the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and he will be defending that belt against Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Now, for those of you guys who have seen on the internet this week, Sanada, in an interview, said that he doesn't really know who Jack Perry is. He basically kind of made out that he was a little bit offended that that's who they gave him. It's unsure whether or not it's a work or not. I hope it is, but I'm going to be honest, the way that it came across and the way that that's being treated by the media in Japan, it's kind of making it seem like he genuinely is unhappy by it. Jack Perry has snapped back by saying, well, to be honest, I've never seen a Sanada match. And I really hated that line from Jack Perry because that's not some flex. That's saying that you've not seen any tape from the guy you're facing in, a couple of days' time. It was announced a week ago. This past week, you should be watching tape. You should be watching every match of his from the last year and, learn what to do. But now let's I don't know, to be honest, who is going to win here, but I'm going to say Sanada because it's obvious. I don't know why I said I don't know. But what's going to win? Something popped up on my screen, and that's what threw me off. It's obviously Sanada who's going to win this one. But Dryzzy, what's your call?
So you want to know something funny? They're both saying the same thing about each other, and most likely in their respective countries, the people are saying the exact same thing. You could almost put Sonata as the Jack Perry over there because if you're not Okada over there or Naito or Tanahashi, they kind of write you off a little bit. You're like that second tier. I'm not 100% sure because I don't catch a lot of New Japan, but I want to say this is Sonata's maybe his second or third title defense.
I think so.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think it's
third.
His third.
I think it's third. He's had at least two.
Hey, that's why he said second or third, right?
Bang on.
But it kind of is the same thing. Sonata is fighting to prove that he belongs up there with Okada, who he beat last year, and all the top guys in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jack Perry is fighting to prove that he belongs in the top of AEW because he's a pillar. I myself am looking very forward to this match. I love Sonata matches. I see where everybody's coming from with the whole we don't really know too much about them. It's like the match a lot of people don't really care about, but I promise you, just give it a chance. You definitely will not be surprised. I'm going with Sonata, but with a Jack Perry heel turn at the end.
Oh wow, okay. Jungle Boy heel turn. That's certainly surprising.
I love it, and I agree too. I'm not to jump the gun here, but I totally, Dryzzy, agree with everything you just said there. And Ben, rarely disagree with you, but I love Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Oh, I love him too.
No, doing what he did with the tweet. No, I love what he said. And you know why I love it is because if they're going to do this heel turn, his dad was Luke Perry. And the one complaint about Jungle Boy Jack is, he's got the celebrity dad and da-da-da-da. His dad wasn't a pro wrestler. He made his own path, carved his own path.
Yes.
But if he's going to be a heel, boy, would it be nice to lean into that. I'm so Hollywood. Why would I watch a Sonata match? Are you kidding me?
So you did become MJF.
I mean, not quite. Not quite. Not as petty, but just I'm too big time. Right? They're different. I mean, like they can be different. East Coast and the West Coast, right? You have the Hollywood guy and then you have the New York City bougie guy.
True.
Right? They can be totally different, but I love lean into the one complaint about him is I mean, every heel that can take the low-hanging fruit on the internet, if you're going to trash Jungle Boy, you're going to see a Luke Perry comment, right?
That's true. That's unfortunately true.
That's just, it's unfortunately the truth. And he's dealt with his whole life. It's terrible. It's unfair.
Yes.
Because I believe he's so talented and he's carved his own path. He's absolutely 100%. Carved his own path. But for him to turn heel and lean into that, I think it could be something that is not only a moneymaker, but a solidifier. And I really also agree with, I hope this is a work. So I disagree. While I disagree with I didn't hate the comment back, like I didn't watch you.
Yeah, no.
Floyd Mayweather used to always say, I don't watch tape of my opponents. I'll figure them out in the first round, right? I'm sure he did.
That's true. I'm
sure he did.
I think that was a lie, but yeah.
I'm sure he did.
You're just giving me the image now, Clark, right? Of all the 4 pillars, just, none of them can be as good as MJF. So what have they decided to do? They've decided to all steal MJF's gimmick. So, they're all going to become big heels.
No, I think you turned Sammy babyface. No, I'm kidding.
But Coby, who are you going for, Sonata or Jack Perry?
Sonata, I mean, it's clear he's going to win, but he's the leader of the faction with the least information about why they're together, similar to Damage Control. I had to pop the boys.
Yes.
At the end of the day, yeah, Sonata's gonna win. Just 5 guys is the New Japan's Damage Control. Why are they together? I don't even know. I'm trying to catch up on New Japan.
They're together because they're just 5
guys.
We all know 5 guys isn't as good as In and Out.
But let's move on before we get into an American fast food debate. Let's talk about the AEW World Championship, as Maxwell Jacob Freeman will be defending against Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he always said he wouldn't fight a New Japan guy. Well, Adam Cole got in his head once more, and now he's fighting a New Japan guy. This is obvious too. MJF's winning for me. I don't think there's really going to be any shenanigans. I think it's just going to be an MJF win. But Clark, what do you think?
I think that this match may steal the show. I think MJF and Tanahashi put on a banger, and I disagree on shenanigans. I only think it's one, whether it's at Dynamite Diamond Ring or the Brass Knucks. After just a banger, MJF proves once again he really can go bell to bell like he did against Danielson. He shows he can really wrestle, and they give him the time. And there's times where it looks like Tanahashi might steal this one. There's times where it looks like MJF's in control. And then we get down to the nitty-gritty, and what's he do? He does what he always does. And he cheats to win. Whether it's a low blow, or it's the Dynamite Diamond Ring, or it's brass knuckles, that's the way MJF goes over Tanahashi. But I do believe that they're going to get us for a second in this one, in a way that I think a lot of people aren't anticipating.
That would be fascinating, and I would actually love that, and I hope it does surprise me, because to be honest with you, match quality wise, I'm not sure how this one's going to go, just because Tanahashi in recent years, he's been slowing down a little bit. So I don't know how well they're going to gel. Hopefully they surprise me. Dryzzy, who are you picking?
I'm going with MJF, but Tanahashi is like Japan John Cena. He always shows up. He's their flag bearer. Okada is their person, but Tanahashi is the guy carrying the flag. It's gonna be a good match. Even slow for Tanahashi is still pretty high pace. So
that's true. That's true. Very, very true. He always has been explosive. So now he's slowed down slightly. That's still very, very quick. But Coby, who are you picking?
I think it's clear MJF's going to win. They're not going to put the AEW World Title on a New Japan guy. They're not. Exactly. I agree that they have to sell us on this match as something that's good, and potentially that could have that title change. But it's pretty hard to sell us on that fact.
Yeah, that is true. And I mean, to be honest, with a couple of these matches, I've been trying to hype them up and explain, either could win. For quite a few of them, the AEW Championship, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, it's obvious who's going to win. It's going to be the defending champion. However, I have just realized StreamYard's having a bit of a nightmare, and it's not showing us any of your comments. But don't worry, I've got them up on my phone. We've got a comment here from Bailey, who's saying that it's not going to happen, but he'd love for Jushin Thunder Liger to be the mystery partner. Yeah, of course, he's retired, so I can't really see that happening, unfortunately, but I would love it. Melissa is asking who should be the fifth for the Elite for the Blood and Guts match. I think it'll be Kota Ibushi, but I certainly don't think we're going to find out on Forbidden Door. No way is Ibushi going to have anything to do with a New Japan, event at all. So I think it'll be in a couple of weeks we'll see Ibushi debut. But keep those comments coming in, guys, because I now have them up on my phone. But let's move on and talk about one of the two co-main events for this show, and that is Kenny Omega defending the IWGP United States Championship against Will Ospreay. Of course, this is a rematch from this year's Wrestle Kingdom, and that match was so good. Maybe my match of the year so far. I absolutely adored it. And the reason I liked it so much is they didn't just, do move. They didn't just overdo everything. It was a nice little mix, and that made it very, very fun. They saved some stuff for a, future encounter, and it appears like this is the future encounter for some of that stuff to happen. I still do think it's going to be a trilogy, and for that reason, part of me feels like perhaps Kenny Omega will get the win by, cheating or something. However, he's full-blown babyface at this point, so that can't really happen. So I am going to predict a Will Ospreay win here, with them running it back again in New Japan in the near future. But Coby, what's your pick?
I mean, you already stole one of the points I had to make, but I mean, that's the thing. Is there a possibility of this as a trilogy? Because we've seen Omega in New Japan, and he had that trilogy with Okada. I'm not going to say whether I've seen it or not. I haven't. I don't care to watch 3 hours of matches when they're 3 matches that way. At the end of the day, this is a match that the first time at Wrestle Kingdom had a puzzling result, because Kenny Omega, and I mean, we can see it. The proof is in the pudding right here. Kenny Omega's had one title defense in 170 days. Kenny Omega has appeared the night after in New Japan, the night after Wrestle Kingdom for New Year's Dash, but the rest of it, he hasn't done anything. I don't understand what New Japan got for putting the title on Kenny Omega in this case, but I 100% agree that there has to be some form of potential title switch if we're going to get a third match. Ospreay has to get a victory at this point. Kenny's done nothing as champion. He had one defense as Jeff Cobb. Like I said, I mean, Ospreay, for New Japan's sake, Ospreay's the go-to guy in this sense. He needs the title because then he's going to carry it and he's actually going to be there. Kenny hasn't. I don't know what benefit there is, but it's going to be interesting to see if they actually do pull the trigger on Kenny losing, because he did just lose to Wheeler Yuta.
That's true, yeah.
At Anarchy in Arena, which no one would say that ever again.
No, that was a bit of a shock.
I'm just taking a quick note here. So Coby doesn't like Omega Okada, but also hasn't seen it, right?
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said I didn't. I haven't watched it, and I haven't
you said
been
you
given
didn't
a
like
reason
it.
to
3
care.
The funniest thing is Kobe's seen just about everything in
I was
wrestling.
like, of all people,
I didn't even know you haven't seen
Do you
that.
want?
Skip
Do you
that one
want me
because
to
of the
set yourself
time?
on fire? I can set
I'm
the
gonna
world on fire
fly
again.
over to Canada, not for Forbidden Door, just to make Kobe watch Omega,
Yeah, why would you not watch
Okada
those?
trilogy, right?
I
But
can
anyway,
easily set
we're
you on
running.
fire again. Hold on.
We're running out of
I-
time, so
No.
let's just move on to the
No, you
predictions.
don't-
Clark,
Let me say it.
who are you
Let me
going
say
for? Okay, go
It
for it.
fits. I have never seen either Shawn Michaels and Undertaker match from WrestleMania.
Woof.
No, I kicked out of Kobe out of the
You have
call there
homework.
for,
You
for
have
the
homework,
visual,
Kobe.
for the audio viewers. But Clark, who's your pick?
Oh man, I mean, I want to see a third, so I got to go Ospreay.
Oh, okay. Dryzzy?
I'm gonna go Omega.
Oh,
We want to get there. And Will's already borderline unhinged. So now, one more loss, he's got to do that Shawn Michaels. I know I can beat you.
Ooh.
I know I can. Give me me and you all in. I know I can beat you.
Perhaps that could happen. Now you've sold me on it, Dryzzy. You really have. But now let's move on to the main event match where Bryan Danielson will be taking on Kazuchika Okada. And we got a couple of comments first. And we got that from Carl Kinahan. Shout out Carl, who is saying he thinks that Kenny will win. And then just like Dryzzy just said, he believes that the rematch will happen in the UK. But yeah, let's now move on to the main event match. Bryan Danielson versus Okada. And based on my predictions for this card, most of the winners are from AEW. So that's why this match I could easily see going either way. And that's why I love the fact that it's a main event. However, because most of the winners I do have are from AEW, I'm going to give it to Okada because usually, you know, for a crossover event, the winners will be distributed fairly evenly. But Dryzzy, who's your pick?
I am going with Asian The Rock, Okada. And he's going to have the incredible entrance. Forbidden Door is just one big giant rouge to get Kenny Omega and Okada in the same arena again. So whatever they have to do, which means Okada getting matches that we know he's going to win because Bryan Danielson's having way too much fun as a heel. There's no reason for him to win this match. It is a dream match, yes, but ultimately, Bryan Danielson is going to be the first. He'll probably be the first one to say, I'll lay down for him. Just give me like 30 minutes. He's here for the art of the wrestling. So him and Okada are going to have a great match. But Okada is winning because Forbidden Door is Okada's show.
That's true. That's true. I mean, New Japan is basically, you know, Okada's show. He's the big star there. And Carl Kinahan in the comments over on YouTube is agreeing, saying, no way can Okada lose. Do you disagree, Clark?
No, I think the real question is over under 3.5 Rainmakers. And I'm going to go over. I think it takes 4 Rainmakers to put Danielson down. And then it's ball game.
I'm saying 2. I'm going with 2.
You're calling 2? I'm calling
2.
4.
I'll go in the middle.
Double or nothing. A 3 from Dryzzy.
What
what about you, Coby? How
right
many Rainmakers? And who's going to win?
I kind of agree that it should take more than 2. I don't know.
I set the number at 3.5. It's over under 3.5.
Yeah, I know. I'm on the fence of 3 or 4. I don't think it'll get to 5. But at the end of the day, I 100% agree. I mean, my only question is Bryan would win if they're trying to get him over as one of the top heels in the company, which it's hard because that's MJF. But I don't know who you would put in the position to cost Okada the match because that's how they tell stories here. They don't necessarily do a lot of interferences in Japan like that. But yeah, like I said, genuinely shocked if Okada does lose. So Okada's taking the dub.
And how many Rainmakers? Pick. Give us a number.
I'll say 4. I'll say 4.
2 overs.
Okay, there we are. We got a comment from Carl saying, Coby, have you ever seen CM Punk versus Samoa Joe? No. Fair enough.
At this point,
that's the answer to your question, Carl. We're going to have to just sit Coby in a room and just go on a wrestling binge with him. But that basically brings us to the end of the show, guys. It's been a bit of a chaotic one. I've had indigestion the entire episode. It's been boiling hot in my room. StreamYard seemingly broke halfway through for me. But yeah, we got through it all, guys. It's been a great episode. Great having you joining us. Thank you to everybody in the comments. We will be back tomorrow to talk about SmackDown. We'll be talking all of that. And then, of course, Sunday we'll be talking AEW Collision. And then on Monday, we'll be giving the review for AEW Forbidden Door. And then we can see whether or not our predictions are correct. If you're on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up. If you're on Spotify, a 5-star, a cheeky 5-star, and a follow. Really, really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you to Clark, Dryzzy, and Coby for joining me here today. We will be back tomorrow, guys, at 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 12 p.m. Pacific. Thank you, guys.